right, so we have made it back with another McLaren. Yes, I don't even know what I just did just now, but I'm excited, so much excited that I wanted to look the part today. I got a full suit on, like I'm acting like I'm a McLaren owner who's got this grand touring vehicle and wants to find out what it is like. It's gonna be pretty fun seeing reactions on the road with this vehicle and trying to look the part too. A lot of cringe moments will probably happen, I know, but let's just bear with it for today's video. I'm Austin, welcome back to the Speed Phenom YouTube channel. And before you proceed watching this video, don't forget to subscribe. So subscribe right now so you're up to date with all the new videos the second we post them, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss a new video coming out. Real quickly, don't miss it. You can win this Ford Mustang GT. All you gotta do is go on speedphenom.com. Our 200 times entry bonus per dollar spent is closing very shortly. Yep, that's right. Anything you buy on speedphenom.com, from merchandise to track day tickets for our next track day at Willow Springs on June 8th, will give you 200 times entries into our Mustang GT giveaway. That's 49,000 entries alone for just buying a track day ticket. What? Click the link on the top of the screen right now or in our bio below. Hurry up, act now. I'm just one of those eccentric McLaren owners that likes to be very stylistic with their vehicles, that like to be subdued like this with the matching gray outfit. So since I just wrapped up my client meetings, I fired a few people today, and I'm ready to live the high life on the weekend, I think it's time to pull out this McLaren GTS onto the road. But before I do that, we need to go over what is new, how this compares to the McLaren GT that you've seen in the past. This has more horsepower for sure, but what else has been changed? I wanted to kind of relive that Bruce Wayne lifestyle, right? Because my friend said, man, that new McLaren GTS looks like a Batmobile when it's finished like this. And it kind of does, right? And what does someone like Bruce Wayne drive? Exotic cars. If you're the kind of person who buys a McLaren GTS for over $200,000, it starts at over $250,000, wouldn't you try to live it up with your style? And I think this car, with how subdued it looks with this gray and the red brakes, which you can't really see from this angle, but I'll show on the screen right now, it is just mean, it's fire. If you can't tell already, they've changed a few design aspects all over this vehicle, such as the front end. You have a new facelift design. You can most notably see it towards the sides. You can see towards the sides we have new enlarged carbon fiber air intake vents, and this is a upgraded feature. This vehicle starts at $220,000. It's not like the Aston Martin Superleggera. I mean, with my time in those vehicles, the hood is so long, it reminds me of like a Dodge Viper. And for a GT car, that can be a bit intimidating. But with this, you don't have that issue because you're getting that supercar focus first. It's riding off the same design basically as the 570S, the McLaren GT, with this half carbon tub, and the dimensions are not as big as the 7 Series McLarens, so they're able to really play around with giving you a smaller car. And since the engine is not placed here, let me show you where it's placed. As you know, the engine is actually placed all the way right here, giving you that mid-engine architecture, which really lends suit to that basic central cockpit feeling you have with McLaren. I'm directly standing where your head would be and is directly lined up with the camera, and that allows you, for when you're getting into a corner, the entire vehicle feels like it wraps around you and you're dynamically just perfectly positioned in the center. It's the optimum feeling, I would say, you would want for the racetrack. That allows you to see ahead of you perfectly without an engine giving you a raised front hood. I think the design of this car is really neat because you'll notice one thing: where are the door handles? There are no door handles. And if I come this way, they're hidden away exactly like the Ford GT. So with my time testing the new body style Ford GT, you have a little, not button, push panel, and you push in on it with the back of your hand, then you lift up. So it's perfectly hidden away, and it's like this because since this platform is similar to the McLaren 570S and 600 LT, it has, I would say, a different problem it's got to solve. because they've changed the door design. You have an exposed side intake. That reminds me a lot of like the CA Corvette actually. But where are they hiding that button that was on that floating exoskeleton of a 570S or 600? Those cars had a floating panel that goes from way over there where the headlights are all the way to these intakes. So they had to find a place to hide the door handle, and where was it? Well, basically directly onto the door itself by pushing in and pulling up. The intakes have been enlarged, and this carbon fiber finish looks really cool. It's grabbing airflow and flying it directly underneath all this paneling, which is actually helping to cool down the engine. So I would say with my suit jacket right in there, it'll cool that down too. This does not have active air like the 7 Series McLarens. It's all beautifully blended into the back sculpturing of the body, but I do say it looks sleek and clean. And having this long rear hatch, I do say it is similar to the vibe I get out of the R8, but this has got a mid-engine carbon tub architecture. Those cars are not carbon tubbed. You do have 21-inch wheels out back with carbon ceramic discs and 20-inch wheels up front. These wheels are definitely bigger than the McLaren 750S. I do want to highlight this car does have the titanium lug nuts that are 40% lighter than standard lug nuts. They do cost over $1,000, so is it worth it? Let me know. Check it out, another Speedy Kiwi right here painted onto that carbon fiber side mirror. It's perfectly smoothed over. That is not cheap, but it is so cool how they're highlighting 60 years from McLaren. You do have to rewire your brain because usually when you walk up to a McLaren to get the storage compartment opened up, you hit this button right here. But when I hit it, what happens? The back goes up fully hydraulically. So to open up this, oh, this opened up too actually. They both opened up. So that is something I do have to get used to, even though Bruce Wayne doesn't walk around with a camera bag. We do need to do the test fit, and look at that. You have more storage space up here than a Porsche 911. And here it is, the famous McLaren umbrella that my 750S came with and all 750Ss come with. There's nowhere to put this in the entire car. Does it fit in the Grand Tour? Let's see. So one in there. Nope, it doesn't fit. What kind of contoured puzzle angles can we do? I don't think it'll fit up here, but let's see if this very cool orange stitched umbrella fits out back. So if I'm going this way, you could actually use your McLaren umbrella. So if I lay this down flat and let's say we unhook this above my suit, let's unhook this. There we go. Wow, look at this. I can completely lock down my McLaren umbrella and take it places. Oh my gosh. This vehicle has a lot of options actually, and if I bend down, you can see that full carbon fiber door sill. I like that a lot. I also like all the 60th anniversary designations throughout the interior. Do you see that Kiwi bird? Well, they're trying to highlight how it's been 60 years with McLaren. Wow, this interior though, you have all this aniline leather, and it's really trying to give you that upscale atmosphere. Look at the lights actually. They've turned completely blue because there's an electrochromatic roof that's digitally operated with a touchscreen over there. I can't wait to show you what that looks like when we're driving. I do want to keep this fast paced because I'm more of a driver and I just want to see and feel what this is like to drive. The AC is all the way turned on. Let's turn that off. The carbon fiber everywhere looks really good and feels nice and smooth too. This brings me completely back to the interior finish of my 600 LT with this floating display. Underneath this is the most convenient McLaren ever because you have not one, but two and three cup holders right here, which will actually fit a massive water bottle. So you're pretty much good for the daily drivable aspects of the vehicle, maybe. Right here in the middle, you have a complete throwback because the newer McLarens coming out don't actually have these physical toggles that you can use to change your driver modes. They've phased this out with the McLaren Artura and McLaren 750S. So you can manually, just like almost mechanically I could say, lock in your favorite settings. So here's sport handling and here's sport powertrain, which gives you the increased aggressiveness for the gear changes and the remap throttle response. But coming down here, when you hit active, it turns on your favorite saved modes. So any combination you put on here, even by hitting the manual button, it will save that whenever it's active. And then when you turn off the active mode, it goes back into a regular driving mode. So that's very cool. This whole panel is very interesting. Yes, it's got that piano black right here in the middle, but it's got chrome accents all the way around the sides. And then to the right, you do have launch control. This is a very quick car, 0 to 60. It should go around 2.8 seconds, maybe even faster, depending on the conditions we have. You have so many cool chrome finishes all around the trim of the interior with more brushed metal right here. I know if this was an LT, that would add weight, and that would not be allowed by any means. Right here in the end stock, there's a button, and if you press that down, it'll raise or lower the front end lift. This has got a brand new front lift system. It operates in just 4 seconds. The seat controls are a bit awkward in this vehicle. They are positioned on the inside of the seat, but you can save your favorite positions, like position 1 or 2. These seats are so comfortable, though. You could easily daily drive this or take it onto a road trip. But coming out back, you have this really interesting, rough, texturized material on top of where your, let's say, extra storage space is. And this is actually a heat deterrent, so it's actually going to be cooling down clothes or items you put on top, because this is where the engine is, right underneath this panel. Then you have this little bar right here that's protecting you from any of your stuff flying down and actually hitting you. All right, let's take it for a drive. First drive in the new McLaren GTS. Look at this amazing view, beautiful cliff lines, the ocean, the Pacific Ocean, completely just encroaching on California. And wow, this McLaren has a different personality. This is a McLaren that they designed for you to drive every single day, but that's such an overused concept these days, because they say all McLarens can be driven every day, like my 750S, or even going back to the 570S. But the concept for this vehicle takes that a step further. You have much more storage space, hence the GT Grand Touring side of things than the S. Well, that is the new part for this car. This is a GTS. You are probably aware of the McLaren GT. It's been around for a couple of years. Tesla Cybertruck. I've been seeing a lot of these around here in California. Let's look at it. Is it wrapped? I can't tell. The majority of those cars that I see are wrapped, but there's so many people out here. Look at the parking. I can't park, unfortunately, but I don't want to park, actually, because this is the car I want to be in. I do want to add, before we continue talking about what GTS means, this car does have all the extra carbon fiber in the interior, and it looks really, really good. I'm a big fan of dry carbon, which is what this is. Dry carbon is not flashy or glossy, or it like reflects back at you like the paint job. I think this is the way you do carbon for interiors, because there's no reflections that are distractions, right? That are just hitting your eyes. You can focus on the road. This is a very expensive upgrade. I think it's like $5,000 to $6,000 for the whole carbon fiber steering wheel setup and the carbon fiber paddle shifters. Elsewhere throughout the interior, it's similar to what we've seen in the past, right? With the 570S GT lineup, but they have improved quite a lot. Welcome to La Jolla, California. This is an incredible view. We're going directly down. I just want to show you the lifestyle behind a car like this, quite honestly, right? I'm back in automatic mode, and there's not too much, let's say, engine noise right now, but it's just enough that you know you're driving a supercar. But these buildings on the side of this cliff, I can't imagine how much like real estate or property is way out here, but I suppose the clientele buying these types of cars. But it's not like beating me up, really. We're in sport mode, so let's go in comfort. A lot of bumps, right? Obviously, you can feel the bumps. It's not a comfortable sedan, but for being a sports car, it's very composed. And I'm not worried about really bottoming out that front end, because it is raised higher. Like in other McLarens, where they're so track focused, you wouldn't even want to dare consider driving it in these types of scenarios. But it's more subdued, so people aren't really looking at you that much or trying to, I don't know, race you all the time. I wanted to recreate more of the city life, beachside experience you would get out of driving the new McLaren GTS in Southern California. So definitely I had to stop by the La Jolla Cove, and there's so many people. Yes, this car is more subdued, but still it gets reactions and tons of photos taken of you driving it. I really think it's just a beautiful car to sink into that ultimate California lifestyle. But let's get out of the whole beach side and let's head towards the countryside to do some performance driving and testing. First up, let's try launch control. Alright, launch control in the new McLaren GTS for 2025. Here we are in track mode. Let's hit launch down here. Awaiting boost. Left on the brake, right front gas. Boost building, boost active. Woo. Wow. This thing's fast. For a GT car? Are you kidding me? This is a supercar GT car. So once you get going higher in the RPM, that's when the boost really comes on. You can downshift pretty close to the red line. This is a GT car. It's a weird blend because most GT cars, you can tell the GT car is first, but with this, I mean, quite honestly, you can really get it to go. Waiting full throttle, building boost. Boost ready. Wow. Obviously, with the turbochargers, you do have to get them spooled up. Right now in third gear, if I hit the throttle, not too much torque right away. But once I downshift, get towards 5,000, that's when the torque starts building up. You do have carbon ceramics with this car. Wow, the hydraulic steering feels so good. It's precise. How does a GT car feel like that? So it's literally, you can drive this non-stop anywhere, everywhere, and then you can just snap it into McLaren mode, supercar mode, and you have that carbon fiber chassis. You've got the carbon ceramic discs that are very stiff. You have to put an actual precise effort into getting it to slow down. What I do like, this is something new for me with the McLaren, is that you have a little phone holster right here, two of them, so that slides down. It's actually not going to go anywhere. I see a lot of cars that have the phone holsters way up here, and it seems like they just fly forward, back, kind of like a Tesla, like the Model S Plaid. You just lay your phone down. I always thought, wow, my phone's going to fly if I hit full throttle, but it never does. I know for the corners though it would, and this should maybe stay, I don't know, 626 horsepower and 450 pound-feet of torque, and being a lighter car, smaller car, it really gets up and goes really quickly. Launch control, I was actually very impressed doing that a second ago, and the one element about this car that I think leaves me giving it such high praise is, since it is tuned in to be a GT car with all the extra storage, and it still has that McLaren DNA where you feel precise, like every action input has a precise meaning, a weight behind it. It makes it fun. A lot of cars you get behind the wheel of and you just don't trust it, you don't think it gets in tune with you, but in the corners, the throttle positioning, the feedback of the brake and the power, it's just beyond smooth. It's just easy to drive, and the chassis is just the one element that you know you have control over. I love the feeling of the chassis. Yeah, it's a GT car, but it's the supercar GT car. It's the everyday supercar GT car. I don't know if I would ever classify some of those Aston Martins and other competitors as being a true supercar like this, because this is a mid-engine architecture like a Ferrari, and it has a carbon top. Those cars are amazing for what they are, a GT car. But this blends that mold into something new and different, where you are getting a McLaren, but you are getting a GT car. It's kind of like the Audi R8s. Yeah, towards the higher RPM, that's when it starts to go. Throws me back to my 600 LT, and it has more power than my 600 LT had. This is more power than the long tail. It's got 626 horsepower and a bigger displacement, 4 liters versus 3.8. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please hit the like button. It really does help us out. And subscribe for much more great content coming out your way. Don't forget 200 times entries for our Mustang GT giveaway is ending very shortly on 3/31. Make sure to get your entries in before you lose that promotional period. Win a 7th generation Mustang GT. All you gotta do is go on our website at speedphenom.com. Any gear you pick up actually gives you that 200 times entries per dollar spent. I hope to see you in the winner's circle. Thanks again, we'll see you in the next episode.